Aloha, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Sprinklebeard, and today we're doing Evaluate the Epic on the healer, Hollow, the Marionette Spellweaver. So, Hollow is a single target healer primarily. Her ultimate does let her hit multiple targets, but that's going to be kind of an additional thing, and we're going to be talking about why Hollow is super amazing. I will say, I had a bunch of other healers before Hollow, and what I love about this game is what Hollow's usefulness for in this game is absolutely amazing. Equally said though, I was very rarely having champions die when I was using things like Nasande and Vortex. Those were my two go-to healers. When I tried switching over to Hollow, her timing for her ultimates was wildly different than the others. So with that being said, make sure that when you are playing with a healer, understand you need to play with them like 10 to 15 times to have a good understanding of when is the best time to ult with them. I did eventually find Hollow to be obscenely useful, and I got to a better point where things started dying less with her. However, I do want to put out there that compared to things like Vortex and Nasande, I was having more frequent deaths in my party. That being said, what Hollow brings to the table is potentially a lot better than the healing. So let's get into it. All right, so in terms of healers, right, we want our HP stat and then our main stat specifically to be as good as possible. So 4,000 attack on a healer that is attack-based healer is very good. Pardon me, that is a terrific way to start off a video. She does have very low defense at 600. So to be fair, flat defense is going to be a useful stat on her. It's not what we want. We do prefer defense percentage. And for the record, defense percentage is better than flat defense. What I'm trying to say is just because if you have flat defense, if you're planning to put it on a healer, a lot of our healers have very low defensive values. And this is also at her 6-star fully promoted. So anything below 6-star, she's probably only going to have like 400 defense, which means flat defense is going to feel just fine on her as you're building her up. Her cost is 17, so she's a little bit on the higher end for healers. That is fine though. If we look at this attack range, so her base range is already very impressive. When we promote her, and I think this is at promotion 2, she gains the increased attack range down the sides, just like Vortex, so has an enormous range. Specifically, when we talk about dragon content, this lets you have one healer to hit everybody. So if you can get away with, if you have the proper stats that Hollow can heal everybody up, you don't need two healers with somebody like Vortex or Hollow. They can be single healers in Dragon and feel absolutely amazing. So her cost is 17. It's a little bit on the higher side depending on the content that you're using her for. Again though, this obscene attack range, I think that is a very fair cost evaluation. She has a attacks interval of 3, which is very, very common for our healers. And ignore this 3% crit rate. I don't remember where that's coming from. It's not really important. Her base Rage Regen is 15. I say base regen because there is a gear set that you can play with that encourages your regen rate, and it's something that's now on my radar, so I guess I need to start mentioning it. Anyways, let's get to the skills, because that's the fun part. Hollow. Hollow has no talents, and that's perfectly fine. Not every champion in this game has a talent. I do think there is a lot of creative room that if they were to give every champion a talent, could really make the game a lot more interesting, or could help make certain kits more dynamic for sure. So her base attack, if you will, her A1, grants attack-based healing to one ally in range. So again, a refresher for anybody who's either new to the series, but the way that healing works in this game is we have Hollow, and the example I always use is a champion like Wrath. When she goes to heal Wrath, it first takes into consideration what is Wrath's max HP. Then it checks Hollow for her attack stat and heals him accordingly. Then that healing value, whatever that number turns out to be, is affected by the healing multiplier and is increased a certain amount based upon the healing multiplier. I have a video where I did a deep dive about the healing multiplier. However, I did run into issues of like gear, like specifically gear, and trying to have very soloed out healing effect at certain numbers. It became a very difficult thing for me to test. I want to quickly summarize that video by saying the target's maximum HP was just as valuable as the caster, so as Hollow's attack percentage was just as valuable as Wrath's max HP percentage. I was testing this out with a tank specifically, and it was fascinating to see that. I also was able to kind of determine that healing effect was just as valuable as attack percentage. So you can kind of go either way, either hard stack healing effect or hard stack attack percentage. The singular reason for your attack-based healers, this is not the video for that. I'm sorry, watch that video in full detail to get my thoughts and whatnot on that. Back onto Hollow. We are an attack-based healer, so we do want attack percentage, and then any attack percentage, healing effect, and then any survival stats to make her tankier so that she is not dying. Attack speed is always amazing on healers as well, because that means they are healing more frequently. We're going to go into her ultimate because her passive does work in tandem with her ultimate. So she has Light of Bliss. It is a 1,000 cost ultimate, which means this is going to feel very rare for you to get to. This means it's going to be something that you're not casting frequently. When triggered, increases the hero's healing multiplier by 25% for 20 seconds, and the hero can heal an additional target. So this lasts for 20 seconds. As we skill this up, the healing multiplier does scale up from 25% to a total of 45%. And the skill cost does reduce from 1,000 down to 900. 900 is still a long time for an ultimate. However, it is at the bottom of the long. It's when you're kind of transitioning from a medium time ultimate to a long time ultimate. We'll talk a little bit about this where she's useful. I'm going to be talking about Dragon a whole lot with her because she's an amazing champion in Dragon specifically. And we'll go into details why at that portion of the video. Energetic Bliss. This is going to be the biggest reason why you pick Hollow, is for this passive. When her ultimate is activated, so Light of Bliss, recovers 0.6% of rage for all allies in range every 1 second. Now, the scaling on this, like these percentages seem really low. We're going to go into the full detail of it. We start at 0.6% and we scale up to 1.4%. This might not sound like a lot, but it's 1.4% every 1 second for 20 seconds. So 1.4 times 20 is going to be, what is it, 28? Oh gosh, I don't know this off the top of my head, and I should. 1.4 times 20 is 28. You will be healing everybody, you'll be restoring everybody's rage 28%. This also means for every second that you're restoring everybody else's rage by that percentage, they are also reclaiming their rage on their own. So a champion like Comet, who has a rage of I think like 14, and he has one of the longest ults in the game at 1,200 cost. As he's getting 24% from Hollow over those 20 seconds, he is also getting 20 times 15 because that is his base regen. So 20 times 15 would be 300. He's gaining 300 rage from himself. He is gaining the 28% from her. That ultimately means he's gaining 58% of his rage back without attacking. If you're not familiar with this, I'll link my Rage Regen video as well. Rage Regen, every time we attack the target, we also gain rage from attacking that target. So Hollow effectively can take somebody from a 0 rage up to like a 70 to 80% rage if they're attacking something. So when we talk about Dragon and everybody's constantly attacking, Hollow basically will restore everybody's ultimates back up to full or nearly back up to full. Timing matters a whole lot, and that's its own detail. All right, let's move on to the Awakenings, because they absolutely affect how we play with Hollow. So at Awakening 1, each healing restores 1% of the rage, 1% of rage cap. So if you were healing Wrath, every time Wrath takes damage, you heal him, you're giving him 1% rage. Again, this is one of those things that everybody is going to get faster ultimates more frequently. Now, champions like Wrath do kind of have that exception that if he's healing himself back up to full, he will be getting healed less. So there is that kind of nuance. If you're using champions like Valeria, who is a legendary, there's times where she cannot be healed. There's going to be those instances, but that's during her ultimate anyway, so that doesn't matter. But be mindful about that depending on what champions you're constantly healing, if you feel like they're getting to their ultimates more frequently, that is why. Awakening 2, she gets 1200 HP. This is absolutely amazing. Helps encourage her survivability. We absolutely love that. Rage cap minus 100. So this takes her from that, what was 900, I think I said? Yeah, so when fully skilled up, right, she would be at 1000. Fully skilled up, that drops her down to 900. Then with her awakening, that drops her down to 800. This changes her ultimate from that long duration, that long difficult thing to get to, down to 800, which is kind of more in the medium category in terms of how I personally categorize ults. This means that between Dragon Breaths, you're able to easily get off one ultimate no matter what in between every single Dragon Breath. So you can feel like that you're spamming this ultimate, but that you can use it frequently. You'll feel like, good, I can use this at the times I think I need to use it. Here, attack plus 5%. This is obviously good. This gives her more healing effectively. So very good stat to have for her. Her Awakening 5, and this is where she goes from your epic value to a legendary value very quickly. Each cast of Light of Bliss increases the efficiency of accumulating rage by 15% until end of battle, stacking up to 5 times. So 5 times 15 would be 75%. I 100% can say I am not 100% sure on how this works. It will work most likely one of two ways. Either the accumulation of rage regen that she offers, that 1.4%, is 15% more effective, right? So I'm not saying it's like 16.4%. So if we have the 1.4%, and we are making it 15% more effective, she would be giving you 1.61. And then this would equal that times 1.15. And we would do that stacking up to 5 times. Why is that not going down? What the heck? All right. Forget why Excel's not letting me do this. Anyways, you can see here that we would go from our 1.4%. So let's ignore this 28. We would start off at 1.4%. What have I clicked? Oh no, this is terrible. There we go. We would start off at 1.4%, and then every time she used her ultimate, we would increase the efficiency. So we'd go to 1.6%, 1.85%, 2.1%, 2.4% rage, and then eventually capping off at 2.8%. Understand, that is effectively doubling how effective our rage regen is using her ultimate 5 times. I will say though, do we get the effect, is it very easy to use Hollow's ultimate 5 times? No, absolutely not. So with that being said, understand it's not going to be wildly noticeable. However, you should notice, especially with Dragon, this should let you keep tempo with Dragon specifically. Because his first breath, I think, is at 1 minute. His next breath is at 50 seconds. And then his final breath is at 45 seconds, right? It's slightly faster each time. This should let you feel like you're keeping up with those intervals very reliably. Or in things like Void Rift, when you're using your ultimates much more frequently, like a lot of the levels are either longer or you are designed to use your ultimates more frequently, this will feel good there as well. All right, let's talk about where Hollow is best used at. So typically in videos like this, I say anywhere a healer is needed, right? Any content where we need a healer, she's going to feel amazing. So in the campaign, we need healers. So if you got Hollow as an early healer, fantastic. You now have just a healer with an enormous range, just like Vortex. You are set on healing for a pretty freaking long time. In things like the Arena and Void Rift, it's the same thing. If you need a healer, or if you need her as Rage Regen to get to your ultimates faster, she is going to be amazing in these places as well. I'm not going to go over the individual ones because some players, like, you don't take damage from the AoE arena, but players will probably use Hollow for her Rage Regen to maybe encourage their, like, Comet to get back his ultimate much more quickly, or their Vierna to get her ultimate back more quickly so that she can spam her ultimate more often. It is a strategy. It's up to you whether or not you want to kind of double down on that specifically. In the raids, anywhere where we need a healer, she's going to feel amazing. So I'm going to kind of just very briefly gloss over. So Marksman, yes, we take damage. She will feel good here. For mages, being able to use your ultimates more frequently, she will feel good here. Endurance, because she has an enormous range, absolutely amazing here. Melee attack, as long as you have a platform, having a healer is going to be amazing in the early levels. And then when we lose all the platforms, the level gives you static life regen. So obviously we can't use her there. Not a big deal. I'm going to skip over for Guild Boss for the moment, and players will understand why I'm skipping over Guild Boss. Artifact raid, artifact material raid, absolutely amazing. So not only is she a very good, like, big range healer, so depending on any of the levels, she will be able to hit nearly everybody. But the fact that when she uses her ultimate, she can heal more than one person, absolutely amazing. And she's restoring all your fighters' rage, so they're getting to their ultimates more frequently. That's a win-win-win-win-win. Tide, absolutely superb. Her having that enormous range lets her hit half the battlefield by herself, and then she's restoring all the rage, which means you're getting to your ultimates more frequently. This would mean that your BP doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, or you'll have an easier time progressing through levels because your champions will be more frequently using their ultimates. Resource raid. Typically, I would argue we don't need our ultimates desperately here, and we don't need our healing. We don't need tons of healing in these levels. For the gold raids, there are times we do need our ultimates more frequently, so I'd say she's more valuable in the gold raid than the EXP raid. That being said, make sure that Hollow, even though you're going to be using her everywhere, to get the most effectiveness out of her heals or to keep her from dying, we do want her at max level. I am not telling you to drop tons of potions on her, but you might want to keep her in that EXP raid so that she's always leveling up or always gaining experience every time you grind a level. It wouldn't be a bad decision. Gear raids. She is amazing in all three gear raids. We're not going to go into details on each one. If you need a healer and you need Rage Regen, she meets both requirements for this. And the fact that she hits so many people in all three of these, she's going to be amazing. The fact that she lets your mages get to their ultimates faster, amazing. She lets your tanks get into their ultimates faster, and a lot of tanks, they have damage reduction in their ults, amazing. Your piercers, some of your piercers for Gear Raid 3, your Edril, your Brienne, your Maul, getting to their ults faster is going to feel bloody amazing. So, absolutely amazing champion, kind of in every piece of content. Faction trials. In the basic trial, she's absolutely phenomenal. Her ability that on certain platforms, she can just kind of reach everywhere, not everywhere, but she will hit majority of the champions you need to be able to be healed with. That being said, I do want to stress, for me, Hollow did not feel as impactful as Nasande or Vortex as a single target healer. However, because Hollow restores Rage Regen, If you're getting to your ultimates faster, you're killing your enemies off faster. If you're killing your enemies off faster, you're taking less damage. So it's kind of a seesaw effect of, you know, Nasande and Vortex are a little bit more on the defensive side, and Hollow is more on your big bursts of damage side, or getting to your ult side. So very, very good. And again, that massive range makes her amazing here. Hollow, I believe, is a cultist. I'm not going to go back and check. I'm 90% sure she's a cultist. In the cultists, they typically don't take damage. However, cultists love their ultimates. They are just like esoterics. We love casting these ultimates from the cultists and the esoterics. The more frequently we can cast it, the better we feel. So, once again, absolutely amazing. Alright, we skipped over Guild Boss earlier, and I typically don't do this, but we're going to be spending a whole lot of time talking in here real quick, and I can even show off a quick demonstration. I recently got Elowen on the account, who is unfortunately like the legendary version of Hollow, so Hollow has taken a big backseat, but I was using Hollow right up until where I got Elowen. So, with that being said, let's just show off how effective as a healer that she can be, and specifically, her timing is different than your Vortex and your Nasande. So, when it comes to attacking Dragon, we obviously want all of our damage dealers out. Where's Arrogance is new to the account. So I do have Dolores, so I'm using a Dolores strategy. Dolores strategy basically means that everywhere Dolores is touching, we want a damage dealer specifically in that range of Dolores, so that when Dolores ults, she hits everybody. So Wrath, who is currently out of that range, I am going to unsummon him because I do need a healer for everybody else. Hollow, I can put either in this back corner or where I have my archer, Alora. I can have Hollow, and she can literally reach every single person in my team. I'm getting some weird staggering in there. Sorry for the bad frame rate. So, Hollow's ultimate, when's the best time to cast it? Obviously, when everybody is kind of low like this is the best time. However, everybody is reaching their ultimates, and it's right before his giant breath attack. So I'm going to go ahead and activate everybody's ultimate so that I am getting the biggest value from Dolores, hitting everybody, and everybody is going to have their ultimates back up. A lot of my characters are not in gear. That's why I'm not doing an amazing job on damage here. I just thought of that this second. It's not going to affect too much. So this is the moment. Dolores has no ultimate, Alora, Valeria, Salazar, and then Pyros' ult is going to end in about 3 seconds. This is one of those perfect moments that I could be activating Hollow. And we're going to go ahead and take everybody's ultimates back up. So if we literally just watch these numbers, we know she's going to restore 28% of their ultimates over that 20 seconds. And Nocturne, he was the last person. Even he is slowly catching up here. Ideally, the best time to ultimate with Hollow is actually right here, right now. During this roar, the Dragon's Roar does a percentage of your max HP. I'm sorry, a percentage of your current HP, not your max HP. A percentage of your current HP. It's like 60% of your current HP consistently. You'll notice your champions will never ever die to that roar effect. You'll just lose a percentage of your health no matter what. Once he does his first roar, that is ideally the best time for Hollow to ultimate. Because during her ultimate, she can heal more than one target. She gets the healing multiplier effect, so she gets additional healing effect during it. And then she's restoring everybody's rage. So if we wanted to be perfect with her, I should have waited for this exact moment. And then I could be healing everybody back up But as you can see, my Hollow, she's in okay gear. Pyro's, he's in 0 gear right now, so that's why he died. We're on Nightmare 4. But this is a good showcasing for her. As you saw, she's able to keep everybody up by herself. Technically, I guess you could incorporate Dolores there. Valeria also kind of heals herself up. This is endgame content kind of nonsense. But for newer players, Hollow is an amazing healer that can sit in a corner, hit everybody. Does this mean you as a newer player that your Hollow can share this burden shoulder this burden by herself? No, probably not. You're probably going to need 2 healers at the beginning, or you're going to need champions that can heal themselves in some way. So champions like Wrath, who can often restore their own HP. That being said, I think this is a very good showcase for Hollow and where she is going to be absolutely massive in. Dragon is by far her best of best content, but she's good everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in the Void Rift, it doesn't matter if you're on a campaign boss, it does not matter if you're on a campaign level, it does not matter if you're in Gear Raid 3. Anywhere where you need your ultimates back up, she is going to be great in. And she doesn't always have to be healing somebody to restore their rage. You can just turn on her ultimate, and that is restoring everybody's rage back up. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for Hollow for today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like and or subscribe button down below, because I try to make videos all day, every day. If you want to interact with us, join us over at twitch.tv/Sprinklebeard. I stream every day, Sunday through Wednesday, semi-reliably. Once my overtime picks back up, though, I will be trying to get as much overtime as I can. I'm trying to pay off my car this year. So if you want me to stream more often, go ahead and hit that subscribe button over at Twitch. It helps out a crap ton. And then, obviously, the more times I'm getting paid for streaming on Twitch, the more likely I am to stream more. And then you can come hang out with me on Twitch, and I can quit my job that is very boring. That's it. That's it for the video. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. But of course, until that next time, ta-ta.